I have developed REST API using Spring Boot JPA.
So have you worked on front end as well?
No, I have not worked on front end yet.
Okay, you have not worked on the front end part. So you have worked on purely back end, like
yes,
REST APIs, Spring Boot.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, and do you have any experience on AWS?
I have little bit exposure of that. Like currently we have recently migrated to cloud, so we are using S3 bucket for uploading the code and all. Like, but very little. Like we have just started doing this, so this much only I'm knowing about it.
So have you done anything on that part as well?
We have currently recently we have got the KT of those things, so we have seen that how multiple instances are being run on the cloud AWS after uploading it on S3 bucket and all. But we will start it because team has given us KT and we will start working on it after some time.
So what sort of things you are migrating into S3 buckets?
It's a code. We are having actually our application was in monolithic previously, that got migrated to microservices architecture, and currently it is in coexisting stage. Like we have 5 microservices ready, so that microservices is being kept on S3 bucket, and from where the DevOps team pick and deploy it using CI/CD pipeline and all.
Okay, so all the code you are keeping it there?
Yes.
Or CI/CD pipeline?
Yeah, we have. Yeah. Actually, currently, what I'm saying, currently we are doing it using Git. But recently we have got the KT and we will start doing this in AWS. So I have seen how to upload the code in AWS S3 bucket and how to run the multiple instances. These things we have recently learned. So there is no hands-on currently, but soon we will be start doing it on that.
Okay. Okay, and for backend part for database, what technology you are using?
MySQL and Oracle.
You're connecting with both the databases?
Yes, we have earlier we had monolithic, but that was service-oriented architecture. So there we had different small applications which were connecting to different DBs. Somewhere in MySQL, some was connecting to Oracle DB, and currently for microservices as well, the same thing is happening. Few microservices is connecting to MySQL and few to Oracle.
Okay, so your application, like now earlier it was a monolithic, right?
Yes.
So how you were maintaining the authentication and authorization of that application?
Yes, it is done using.
How you were securing your application?
Yes, we are the authentication and authorization part is being implemented in API gateway, where they are using Spring authorization and JWT tokens. They are using for Spring authorization and JWT token for authentication.
So I would like to know what was the flow of that authorization and authentication, how things were, how username and password were getting authenticated, and how JW token was generated, and then how it is being used for authorization.
Yes, I have seen, we have not we have developed the REST API, which was basically internal REST API. So there we did not need to implement the authentication, but I have seen in the API gateway part of our application that there are classes. First of all, there is a filter class where all the requests.
When you say API gateway, what do you mean by that API gateway?
It is a Spring Boot project only, but it actually there is a dependency added here of gateway. So what it does after adding this dependency, whatever request which is created from a client site, it goes to the API gateway first, and after that it is routed accordingly. So it is simple Spring Boot project only, but here dependency of gateway is added.
Okay.
Yeah. So there is class of JWT filter, which actually extends like one request per filter, and then there is from the request, whatever the new request come, it's first go to that filter, and after that it is it takes the after that there is another class which sorry. So first of all, it will go to that filter. It will then route to the.
See, first of all, let's say I am a user, right?
Yeah.
I entered my username and password.
Definitely. Yeah. So when you will enter your username and password and you will click on any button, it will from the front end part, it sends the payload to the controller. And after that, it first of all, it will go to the filter part. From there, it will call the controller of JWT controller, which will be defined there in the filter part. It will call that controller. In controller part, we actually validate the username and password. Wait, let me but first it will go to filter, then it will call the controller, JWT controller, and from there it will be if already that request has been solved, like already JWT token is available there, then it will just go to the JWT util class. There is one class of JWT util where we define the method to get and validate the token or create the token. It will just go and check if token is already present. If it's present, it will route the request accordingly for the microservices it is requesting. And if token is not present, it will go to the authentication Spring authentication class, which actually extends web security or some interfaces there.
Wait a sec here. When I entered username and password, right?
Yes.
So from where did you validated that user? It is an authenticated user.
Yes,
from where
I
username and whether the user exists or not. If user exists, whether its password is correct or not.
Yeah. I'm going to that part only. There is two condition when there is already a token generated. So this will happen. If token is not generated, it will go to the Spring authentication authentication class, where we will be implementing the interface, that web security or something like that. There it will go and it will authenticate in this class. This class will call the user detail service, which is already provided by the Spring Boot. And this, by using this interface, it will load the user by its name or by its whatever parameter we are defining. It will load the user from DB or whatever place you want to you have stored the details, most of the time DB, and it will load the user. It will match it using we already have the predefined method for validating the user and all. We are using those things, and it will validate, and it will, after that, it will route to the controller again, and controller will, from there, once it gets validated through a Spring security, it will then generate JWT token using the JWT util class, which we will be creating, which will extend some JWT. I guess it will extend JWT token or something like that. So this is what I have seen and I know, but I have not personally implemented this. So maybe
okay. So in your application, you have some roles also.
Yes, my role is of developer and as well as
no. In terms of application, I'm asking like user roles.
Okay, yeah, we have admins, and we have admin, and after that business user as well as the store user, because this is a retail project. So we are having different roles of store manager, district manager, and all those things. Accordingly, they are provided the view things.
Okay, so you must be maintaining some then authorization, right?
Yes, yeah.
Some user must not be able to access the APIs or the controllers.
Definitely, yes.
Which admin has. So how you were maintaining all those things?
Yes, now in microservices part, I have seen that they are using that these roles things are appended in the details are appended in the JWT token, which is provided as a provided in the payload part. So we can read the token on the payload part, and after that we can there is for this we have there is a one. interface which we implement in a class where there is a matcher and something. All those things are using those things only. It is authorized. Like I'm a bit confused here, but yes.
Okay. So you must have used authorization annotations.
Yes.
Okay. And in that annotation, you must have set the roles.
Yeah, right. Using the like we are having different for different endpoint, we just define the pattern, and then we define the role, and there is a this thing I'm not able to recollect currently, but yeah, we defined the all the URLs endpoints, and we defined the role, and then we for there are functions like dot allow and something like that. I'm not able to recollect it currently actually.
Okay, no worries. Yes. So you have worked with Spring Boot also, like you have recently migrated your application from Monolith to Microservices. So what basically Spring Boot is?
Spring Boot is actually first of all, Spring Boot is we had Spring. Spring was a framework which provides us the all the already, like when we want to create any of the web application or anything, it already provides us all the structures of in the folder form and all those things. And Spring Boot, what it does, like when most of the configuration which we used to do manually earlier, like adding after we used to create the project, we used to export it into a EAR or WAR file, and then manually we used to deploy it on the server. Here Spring Boot has provided us this internally. It is embedded internally, hence we don't need to the Tomcat server is embedded here by default, hence we don't need to export it into a jar, WAR or ER file and deploy it manually. We run it is in runnable format, we run it, and it is automatically runs the server from inside. And apart from that, we have like when we include web starter dependency, there it takes care of the versions of the all the jars or all the dependency which we add, like anything. It takes care of all the compatibility of the versions, which earlier we had to manually take care of the compatibility part. And apart from that, like we have multiple annotations provided by Spring Boot here, which is very easier for us to implement most of the things by using the annotation itself. Earlier, which we had to, like if we talk about the database layer, there earlier we had to create all the in database layer we had to create DAO and DAO impl class and all, and now we have to extend the JPA. If we are using only one DB, then we just need to extend the JPA or CRUD repository, and we are ready with we have all the defaults basic functions which we can call, and we can perform the DB part. So these are the things which is provided by the Spring Boot. So basically it has been automated, most of the things. Hello.
Sorry, I was speaking on mute.
No problem.
Okay, so do you know what is inversion of control?
Yes, inversion of control is a it's a principle which actually tells that the low level components should not be dependent on the high level component. Wait, like if we are defining this SQL part, it should not be dependent on this. It should be dependent on the high level component should not be dependent on the low level component. So here we use for resolving this, we use the abstraction concept here. We basically create one interface where we can make the dependency of high level to the abstraction, and also dependency of the low level to the abstraction. Like whenever we are using
that is just so how Spring achieves this thing
in version of control, I think in Spring, like we are doing this, we are for DB part, we are extending the JPA repository. It's an interface, and that is being inside. If we get inside that JPA repository, it has what it does, it create the beans of data source, transaction manager, and all those things. But our code, the code which we are designing, actually the class which we are creating, which is the high level design, that is not directly dependent on the those classes which are actually creating the beans and all those things. We are using the interface of JPA repository. And then the low level design, which is creating data source beans and all those things, that is being dependent on the JPA repository. So this is the implementation, one of the example in version of control here.
So do you know about the Bean Factory and Application Factory?
Bean Factory and Application Factory, yes, sir. Whatever, we have multiple factory. I just I am not able to recall it exactly, but we have multiple factory system in the in our architecture.
Factory exactly?
Yes, I am about to say about that. So factory concept is for there is actually one design pattern of the factory. The factory, what it does, like whenever we have multiple implementation of any of the things, or multiple way of maybe initializing the bean, or maybe declaring or defining the bean, then at that time we use this kind of design pattern, which actually hides the actual implementation, or you can say the actual, like what we just request that we need this thing. Rest of the part is being taken care by which implementation is to call. Those things are being taken care by this factory method, I guess.
Okay, and do you know about what is the qualifier annotation, and why do we use that annotation?
Yes, qualifier we use like when we have multiple bean of the same type. Like sometime when we have to configure more than one database in our application, at that time we have we configure. At that time we have 2 DB bean data source bean, or 2 transactional beans, but both will be different actually. But when we are calling the bean class of data source, or any of the bean class which we have configured in 2 different with 2 different parameter, or 2 different properties, at that time we provide this at qualifier or at primary annotation, so that while calling Spring, our framework can decide that which bean we should call. Like it should not get confused, and to avoid the ambiguity. So when it's a qualifier, there is a it tells qualifier tells that this bean is applicable to be used and called, but it's not mandatory that only you have to call this bean. If there is some another high priority bean, like at primary, then it will call the primary. This is the what.
Okay, so do you know about the transactional annotation?
Yes, it provides it when we do the transactional annotate. We annotate our method or class at transactional. Then at that time, it actually takes care of the property of transaction, which is asset, that if any of the DB any of the DB call fails, it actually roll back the things. So basically it has the function of rollback and committing things. So it will commit once all the statement is successful, or it will roll back if any of them fails.
So that annotation where you are using in your code?
We are using it over, I think it's class level annotation. Yes, it's class level annotation.
No, that is a class level annotation, but at which place? At controller, at service layer? Which layer you are using that annotation? Service layer. Yeah. Okay. Okay, and you are using JPA or Hibernate?
JPA, which it's internally it uses Hibernate, but we are using JPA.
Okay. So do you know about the lazy loading in Hibernate?
Yes, lazy loading is like a it's actually lazy loading concept is about when the things will be loaded only when it is actually required, when it is called. So in transaction, if I talk, it happens in just a minute, like
Okay, and what is the first level cache and second level cache?
this thing also I came across like caching when we are caching it. First level caching is by default it is implemented. It's actually cached in the local system or in the client system. There is the it saves the values so that multiple DB calls should be decreased. And second level 2 caching is being implemented using, I think, cache. And yes, here actually we save the data not in the client machine or local memory, but we save it in the server somewhere. Yes, something like that.
Have you ever implemented any second level caching?
No, I have not.
Okay, you have not.
Yes.
Not in your application also, right?
It is implemented in my application. That's why I have seen, I have went through it, but I have not implemented. I have seen some.
So which cache was implemented?
I guess I have seen cache somewhere,
Okay.
annotation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and which version of Java you are using?
8.
8. Okay. So have you used this Stream API?
Yes, I have used.
Okay. So for which purpose you used the Stream API? Right?
We have used it for like when we are showing the data. Actually, our application is all about showing the data to the different users in different format and all. So sometimes we have to we have the need to show the data which store is having highest of this metrics. At that time, we have to find the highest, or we have to find out the employee which is having which has more like we are having metrics for the employee performance as well. So which is having that particular metrics in more, we have to show that employer name and all those things. And at that time we have used Stream API, sorry.
Okay, and can you write some code? Let's say if you have a list of objects, of employee, and you have to sort that list on the basis of their salary.
Definitely, yeah. You have to sort on the basis of their salary.
Yeah. So how you will do that? First, I would like to know about the approach. How you will do that?
First of all, like we'll have the we will have all the there will be some array list or something of the employee object.
Yeah, see, list is there, list of employees there, right? And it has, let's say, 10 employees.
Okay. Then suppose that list is emp. So emp dot stream dot, then we have to sort it in with the salary. So we will in the sort, we can here I will be using comparator also, like a comparator, and then I will in comparator angular bracket, there I will provide the employee, and then com is equals to, then I'll define it e1 comma e2, then lambda expression, and after that if e1 dot get salary dot compare to e2 dot get salary. This will provide us that sorting method on the basis of that employee salary. And in the stream we will do emp dot stream dot sort, and in sort parameter will provide this comparator.
Okay, while sorting you will be passing that comparator.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's say I have to sort them in descending order. In that case,
then the same thing I'll do. Just what I'll do here, I'm doing like e1 dot get salary dot compare to e2 dot get salary. This thing I'll swap e2 dot get salary dot compare to e1 dot get salary. It will sort in the descending.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have worked with threads also?
No, I have not get chance to work yet, but I have some understanding of the thread.
Do you know about the thread pools?
Thread pools, like we have. I know about the executor or service framework, where we can just create the thread pools using that framework, which actually defines the number of I don't like.
So what is the purpose of creating a thread pool? Why do I need a thread pool?
Yes, definitely. I think we are. I can relate with the string pool. There we so that if there is any thread already initiated or already present, we can reuse that. There should not be so it will increase the efficiency of the code, I guess. This is my guessing, actually.
Okay. So have you ever created any background job?
No, not yet.
Okay. Hey, so you must have worked with threads also. Plain threads, the simple threads.
Not exactly. I have not used thread in my application yet.
Okay.
Yes.
So do you know there is a method in thread, run and start. Let's say I have created a thread.
Yes, definitely. I know that.
Yeah. So I just created a thread and T1 and I write down T1.run.
Yeah. Yes.
So what will happen in that case?
When we do t1.run, run is actually a method it's basically we are having runnable interface where this run method is present. It's not a concrete method. So when we do thread.run, it calls that method, but that definition which we provide, it will basically call that and execute that in the new thread.
Sorry, I missed you.
No, I'm saying when we do this, run is actually the method which is provided by the runnable interface. It is not concrete method, so we have to give its definition somewhere. And when we do thread.run, it will call that method and it will execute that definition. But in the new thread, when we are doing thread.run in the main, one thread will be there of the main. It will create the new thread and it will run that. And yes.
And what will happen if I'll do t.start?
It also does the same thing. I guess there is sorry, I'm not able to distinguish between both, but the both will does something, but there is difference. I guess there is some difference in the thread creation in both of them.
So you must have handled exceptions also, right?
Yes, I have.
So how you were handling exceptions in your code, like it was a declarative way or programmatic way, how you were doing that?
Like we are having already we have some of the custom exceptions created in our project currently. So we use that as well as the one which is provided by the Java itself. We use them. Like when we have any classes where we that class need to be called by some another class, there we most of the time we throw it in the signature part. And from the calling class, like most of the time when we are declaring the control while we are creating controller class, in that we generally handle the exception, and from all other classes we throw it in the from the signature part.
Okay, so what is the difference between throws and throw?
Yes, throws we use with the signature of the method or maybe with the class. So it basically it tells that this class or this method may throw some exception, and the calling class should it's compulsory to handle that. Either the calling class or method will handle that exception, or it will again throw it the same exception using the throws. And throw we use for actually throwing the exception from inside the method, like when we just like inside the method when we have to throw actually we want to throw it.
Okay. So do you know about the singleton design pattern?
Yes.
Okay, can you write some code to show me like how you will create a singleton design pattern? If you can share your screen and write it down on a notepad.
Yes. My screen is visible now?
Yeah, your screen is visible to me now.
Class singleton that we have. Instance is equals to 1 entirely return